Lesson 1, Simple Interest. So interest is calculated when you either invest something and you're making interest, or you're taking a loan on something and you have to pay interest. And there's some certain definitions that are important. So term is how long you invest for. A fixed interest rate means that the rate doesn't change over time. Principal is how much you invest. We also call this the present value. And simple interest uses certain formulas. So we have interest is equal to PRT. So the principal times the rate as a decimal and the term. We can also calculate our A, which is our future value, by taking our principal and adding the interest. This could also be simplified to be P times 1 plus RT. So all three of these are formulas that we use for interest. So we're going to do example 1. So example 1 says we have a $2,500 GIC, and a GIC is a guaranteed investment certificate. It's invested at a rate of 2.5%, simple interest, paid annually, with a term of 10 years. We want to determine what the future value is and also what the interest is. So what the paid annually means is that it's just at the end of the year it calculates the interest, and simple interest always calculates from your original principal value. So our P is 2,500, our R is 2.5%, and we want this as a decimal, so we move it over 2 to the left to be 0.025, and our term is 10 years. So we're going to put it into our formula. A is equal to P plus PRT. And we're going to do this formula because this way we can see both the interest and then the total future value. So it's going to be 2,500 plus 2,500 times 0.025 times 10. And what this is actually calculating is it's calculating 2.5% of the 2,500. And then it just multiplies it by 10 because it goes on for 10 years. So you have 2,500 plus 625. So that means our interest earned is 625. And when we add the two together, we get $3,125. So our future value is $3,125. So that's how much money you have at the end of 10 years. Alright, example 2, you invest $15,000 into a savings account. You earn a simple interest rate as a rate of 8%. And it's paid semi-annually. On your investment, so you want to hold the investment for 4.5 years. So we're going to fill out the following chart for every half year to see how much the investment grows. So for our first year, we're going to take $15,000, which is our starting point. We're going to times it by the rate as a percent, which is 0.08 as a decimal. And then you're going to times it by your term for the first one, which is 0. So that would be your interest would be 0, so you add it to 15,000 and you would start with 15,000. So the next one we're going to do 15,000. We're going to do 0.08 and we're going to times it by 0.5 years. So what you earn is $600 in interest. What you have is $15,600. Oh my goodness. Now when we go up by 1 year, we have 15,000 times 0.08 times 1, you earn $1,200 in interest. So now you have $1,600 200. So I want you to pause the video and fill out the rest of the chart. So what you should notice is that every half year it goes up by $600. So the next one should be 16,800, then 17,400, then 18,000, then 18,600, 19,200, 19,800, and then 2,400. So we're going to graph this. So our 0 would be at 15,000. At 0.5 it's 15,600. At 1 it's 16,200. At 1.5 is 16,800. At 2 it's 17,400. At 2.5 it's 18. At 3 it's 19,200. At 3.5 it's 19,800. And at 4.5 it should be at 20,400. So as you can see, it makes a line. So if we were to calculate the slope of this line, our y-intercept would be 15,000. And our slope, whenever you go over 1, you go up $1,200. So our equation for this line would be y is equal to 1,200x plus 1,500. And our y would be the same as our future value, and our x would be the same as our term, how many years in the term. So we could say this is a is equal to 1,200 times t plus 1,500. 15,000. So what 1,200 is it's 8% of 15,000. Okay, example 3 is you invest $5,000 at 8% simple interest paid annually. How long will it take for the investment to be $8,000? So we have A, P, R, and T. This time we know our future value, we want it to be 8,000. Our initial value, our present value, our principal is 5,000. Our rate is 0.08, and we do not know the term. So that is what we're going to look for. So we have A is equal to P plus PRT. So this is going to be 8,000 is equal to 5,000 plus 5,000 times 0.08 times t. So we subtract 5,000 from each side. We're going to solve for t. So we have 3,000 is equal to 500 times 0.08 is 400t. Now we divide by 400. This will cancel, and we're left with 7.5 is equal to t. So it takes 7.5 years, but because you get paid annually, you have to wait until it's an 8 year, until it's been 8 years in order to get your interest. So it's actually going to take you 8 years to get the 8,000. Otherwise, that 0.5 years, you kind of just lose it because it waits till the end of the year to be counted for interest. So you have to round up for this one. It has to be 8 years. Okay, example 4. You invest $20,000 into a CSB, and what that stands for is a Canada Saving Bond, and it grows to be $29,375. In 5 years, what's the interest rate? So we have A, P, R, T. Our future value is 29,375. Our principal is 20,000. We don't know the rate, but we know the term is 5. So we have A is equal to P plus PRT. So we have 29,375 is equal to 20,000 plus 20,000 times R times T, which is 5. So we're going to subtract 20,000 from both sides. So we're left with 9,375 is equal to, and 20 times 5 is 100,000. So we have 100,000 R, which makes sense, right? Because we're finding a rate. So when we divide both by 100,000, these will cancel. This will turn into 0.09375, which is a rate. So to find that as a percent, you times by 100, move the decimal over twice. It's 9.4%. So that is what your interest rate would be. Alright, for our example 4, you have a GIC that grows to $7,480 over 8 years at a rate of 4.5%. How much did you initially invest? So we have A is equal to 7,480. P, we don't know. R is 0.045. And T is equal to 8. So, because we're looking for P, it's easier to use A is equal to P bracket 1 plus RT. Just because there's one P in this one instead of 2. So we are going to fill everything in. So we have 7,480 is equal to P 1 plus 0.045 times 8. So then we're left with 7,480 is equal to P times 1.36. Then we divide by 1.36. And we're left with 5,500. So you initially invested $5,500. Okay, moving on to rate of return. So a rate of return is a percentage value, and we take how much you've earned in interest and you divide it by how much you invested yourself. So you have an investment of $4,000 at 8% simple interest over 8 years. So we want to determine the rate of return. So we're just going to find the interest. So we have I is equal to PRT, IPERT, which is 4,000 is our principal. Our rate is 8% as a decimal, so 0.08, and our term is 8 years. So we multiply those together and we get 2,560. So our interest over our investment is our rate of return. So our interest is 2,560. Our investment was our principal. We invested $4,000. Divide the two and you get 0.64, which is 64%. So that has a pretty high rate of return. You have 64% of it you're making back, which is pretty good. Alright, example 5. You're investing $25,000 into a Canada Savings bond that pays annually. If your future value is $29,375, and this was at the end of 5 years, what was the interest rate? So we have A, P, R, T. A is $29,375. P is $25,000. We do not know the rate, but we know the term is 5. So A is equal to P plus PRT. 29,375 is equal to 25,000 plus 25,000 times R times 5. We're going to subtract 25,000 from both sides. This cancels, and we are left with 4,375 is equal to 25,000 times 5 is 125,000 R divided by 125,000, and we get 0.035 is R, which is 3.5% interest rate. Part B, we want to figure out how much the bond would be worth after 4.5 years. So we don't know A, P is still 25,000, our R is 0.035, which we just found, and our term is going to be 4. And the reason why it's 4 and not 4.5 is that it's paid annually. So unless you go 5 years, you lose the 0.5. So this 0.5 you wouldn't get until you're at 5. So we can only count the first 4. So we have A is equal to P bracket 1 plus RT. We can use this formula easily because we know our rate and our term. So we have P is equal to 1 plus 0.035 times 4, which is our principal is 25,000. I didn't know why I didn't put that in before. And when we times this together, we get 1.14. So altogether, we have made $28,500. So that's how much you would get at 4.5 years. And you would lose the 0.5% interest because you'd have to wait till 5. Alright, the last example, you have invested $30,000 into a simple interest account of 4.2%, which is paid daily. So your interest counts every day. You're going to close the account after 90 days. So, something you also should remember is that when we get interest rates for simple interests, we always assume that it means per year unless it's otherwise stated. So usually it says per annum, which is per year, and that's how we calculate our simple interest. So we have A, P, R, T. We don't know A. Our present value, our principal, is 30,000. Our rate is 0.042. And our term is 90 out of 365. 90 days. So we have A is equal to P, 1 plus R over T. R times T. Getting ahead of myself. So A is equal to 30,000 times 1 plus the rate, which is 0.042, times the term, which is 90 over 365. And when you type this into your calculator, you won't get an even decimal. So what you have to make sure you do is that you don't round. Banks don't round because it could work to your advantage. So you can't round very much either. So you should type all of this in first. What I would do is I would start with 90 divided by 365, then times 0.042, then add 1, then push equals. I would also put equals here. Then you times it by 30,000. Knowing how to type things into your calculator is really, really, really important at this point. And knowing where brackets need to go and knowing how BEDMAS affects your calculator will make a big difference because you need to be able to type things into your calculator. This unit heavily relies on calculators. So you should get your answer to be $33,106.85.